Shaheed Bhagat Singh, a revolutionary activist or an intellectual social justice warrior? Let me tell you a little bit about him and you decide for yourself. Let's talk first about what was best known about him when he was hanged at the age of 23 in 1931. In 1928, when India was still a British colony, the Simon Commission arrived in India. It was a group of 7 members of the British Parliament and it was going to study constitutional reform in India. No Indians were in the commission and they were understandably outraged at being excluded in determining their own future. The prominent Indian nationalist Lala Lajpat Rai led a protest against the commission in Lahore. He was beaten by John Saunders on the orders of the senior superintendent of police, James Scott. He died of his injuries on November 17, 1928. His wife challenged the youth of India to avenge his death. The Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, or the HSRA, took up the challenge. 4 members of this group hatched a plot. They were Bhagat Singh, Shivram Rajguru, Sukhdev Thapar, and Chandrasekhar-Azad. In a case of mistaken identity, Bhagat Singh and Rajguru shot and killed John Saunders instead of James Scott. As they were escaping, they were pursued by a policeman by the name of Channan Singh, who was shot and killed by Chandrasekhar-Azad. The next day, posters went up all over Lahore in which the HSRA claimed responsibility for the assassination. Bhagat Singh, who was born into a Sikh family, shaved his beard and cut his hair to avoid being recognized. For months, there were no arrests. Bhagat Singh started to feel restless and purposeless because no progress was being made to oust the British from India and to improve the plight of the Indian people. He wanted to awaken the nation into action and he wanted a stage from which to deliver his message. Getting arrested and being put on trial would give him that stage. So on April 8, 1929, Bhagat Singh and B.K. Dutt threw bombs in the Central Legislative Assembly in Delhi. For this incident, Bhagat Singh's inspiration had been a French anarchist by the name of Auguste Vaillant, who had been executed by the French for a similar incident in Paris. The incident in Delhi was largely symbolic and was not intended to kill anybody. In fact, after throwing the bombs, which mostly just generated a lot of smoke, the 2 men waited to be arrested while throwing leaflets and shouting the slogan, "Inqilab Zindabad," long live the revolution. This slogan became very popular amongst the youth and many freedom fighters. Both men surrendered. Bhagat Singh did not offer any defense. Instead, he used the courtroom as a stage to propagate his ideas. He was given a life sentence. In the meantime, other members of the HSRA were arrested for setting up bomb factories. During their interrogations, Bhagat Singh's role in the assassination of John Saunders was revealed. That case was reopened and came to be known as the Lahore Conspiracy Case. Starting in June 1929, Bhagat Singh went on a 116-day-long hunger strike. He was protesting the terrible conditions to which Indian prisoners were subjected, and he was also demanding to be recognized as a political prisoner. The media enthusiastically popularized the hunger strike, and it gained wide popularity across the entire nation, so much so that Bhagat Singh became far more famous than many of the other freedom fighters. On October 5, 1929, Bhagat Singh finally broke his fast at the request of his family and of Congress leadership. To counteract the rapidly rising popularity of Bhagat Singh, the trial for the John Saunders case was fast-tracked. On October 7, 1930, Bhagat Singh, Shivram Rajguru, and Sukhdev Thapar were sentenced to be hanged. They asked to be treated as prisoners of war and to be executed by a firing squad instead. Their request was not entertained. They were executed on March 23, 1931. They were cremated in secret in Hussaini Wala in present-day Pakistan on the banks of the Satluj River. Even their own families were not notified. Bhagat Singh came to be glorified as a great martyr. He was young, defiant, and willing to take on the British on his own terms. For years after his death, this was the only version of Bhagat Singh that people knew. If you delve into his life, leading all the way up to imprisonment, his revolutionary path is not a surprise. He was born into a Punjabi Sikh family on September 28, 1907, in the village Banga in the Lalpur district of the Punjab, now in Pakistan. His father and uncle were prominent activists and members of the Ghadar Party, a group dedicated to ending British rule in India. Bhagat Singh was drawn to the independence movement at a very early age. When he was 12 years old, he visited the Jallianwala Bagh right after the massacre in 1919, and that left an indelible impression on him. When he was 14, he witnessed the protests against the killing of a large number of unarmed Sikhs at Gurdwara Nankana Sahib in 1921. But what shaped his thinking more than anything else was his love for reading. It is said of him that he didn't just read books, he devoured them. He was especially interested in books with political and economic themes. He was influenced by the writings of European revolutionaries like Lenin and Trotsky. He read about 200 books when he was in college and nearly 300 books when he was in jail. A few hours before he was hanged, he was eagerly waiting for a friend to bring him Lenin's book, State and Revolution. He thought he had time to finish reading the book, but his hanging was advanced by 11 hours and he was able to finish just a few pages. Bhagat Singh was a prolific writer as well. His writings exhibited a strong sense of patriotism, a remarkable understanding of the principles of equality, justice, and freedom, of the exploitation of capitalism, and of religious discrimination. He was born into a Sikh family and followed the teachings of Guru Gobind Singh, yet he declared himself an atheist. And not because he didn't believe in God or hated religion, but according to him, because religions hate humanity. In 1930, he wrote one of his most famous articles titled "Why I Am an Atheist," in which he laments the exploitation of God and religion by the ruling classes. Most of these things about Bhagat Singh were not discovered for years until after the independence of India in 1947. It was then that a notebook that he kept in jail was discovered. He also wrote several books when he was in jail, and even though they were smuggled out, they were unfortunately lost. Fortunately, we still have his writings from before he went to jail, and also the many speeches that he wrote, so many of which were read during his trials. History has mostly depicted him as a trigger-happy revolutionary who lacked nuance. Of course, he wanted to oust the British from his country, but his fight was so much bigger. He was concerned that once the British left, the exploitation of the masses wouldn't end, it would simply change hands. In one of his speeches, he wrote, "The peasant who grows corn for all starves with his family. The weaver who supplies the world market with textile fabrics has not enough to cover his own and his children's bodies. Masons, smiths, and carpenters who raise magnificent castles live like pariahs in the slums." Oh, and by the way, he was a poet as well. Something he wrote that beautifully marries the poet in him and the revolutionary is this: "Is qadar waqif hai meri kalam mere jazbaaton se, main ishq likhna bhi chahun to inqilab likha jata hai." So familiar is my pen with my emotions that even when I try to write the word romance, the word revolution gets written instead. In the end, is there even a way to fully grasp the enigma of a true patriot, a revolutionary visionary, an uncompromising fighter, and a symbol of hope and inspiration for an entire nation? Perhaps not, but it explains why we honor him as Shaheed-e-Azam, or the Great Martyr.